Hey, what's up guys? Sage here. I'm going to do a video on lighting this scene. It's been a while since I did a video, so I guess it's time I actually, put one out there. But before we jump into this and create a scene image, I'm going to go through the whole 9 yards in making this scene. Head on over to Rumble and look for me on there because YouTube is, well, YouTube. So just to show you, let's say we go to Rumble and you just do search. Oop. All you gotta do is type in my name right up there, and then I'm right here. So go ahead and give me a follow over there. I'm gonna be uploading to both YouTube and Rumble for now, but eventually I just want to move completely over to Rumble because there's just less restrictions, less headaches, and not so much of a hassle on so much other stuff. But without further ado, let's jump into this. So I have literally just loaded in a character and loaded in the scene. That's all I did. And we're just going to work from here. So I don't know what my lighting is or anything like that. Whenever I start a scene, I look for sources of light. So the first natural one is naturally this fireplace, right? Then you got this lamp. So we'll probably be adding lights there. The image that I'm going for, she's going to be like sitting on this. I may put a light here. I may not put a light here. It all depends on the overall ambience of the scene. So let's first find a pose that I am looking for, that I have in vision in my head. Whenever you start a scene or whenever you are doing this, there are times to where you're just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll just put something together. But try to have a sense of what you're looking for. Sometimes you'll stumble upon like situations, like I'll be posing my character and then I'll come across a good camera angle that I did not think about or something. And those are good, but you need to have a set, clear path on what you're going for. Well, I do as a story writer, so I got a whole scene that I'm thinking of, and that sort of number. So try to have some kind of vision on what you are going for. Okay, so she's going to be sitting down. Let's see what kind of sitting poses that I can do. I'm going to get my character fully done on how I want her to be set, because there's going to be D-force involved. There's going to be so much other stuff involved. So I'm not even worried about lighting as of right now. So let's see, what do we got for sitting? Nope. I want like a leaning back type of, like maybe something like this. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, so I'm sitting there. That's kind of what I'm feeling. So I think we're going to be doing that now. Let's go ahead and place her. We want her as close to the object as possible. Hopefully. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and turn her a little bit over here. See how the feet are clipping, but the hand is not. So we'll just mess with the leg instead. Other way. There we go. Now I'm gonna get right up in here and see how close. So this does go down quite a bit. So let's go ahead and do that now. Maybe I can do like a little bend, because I think when I move this hand, what's gonna end up happening is gonna move like the whole entire character, make it go wonky. Nope, it did not. Awesome. That just saves time then. Alright, let's do that. Let's see how close it is now. Oh, my computer's screaming at me right now. Alright, cool. So now we're just going to take this arm and go front, back. Oh, that's not the one I'm looking for then. Maybe it's the bend. Yeah, there we go, the bend. Now I'm going to have to move that arm back up, or hand back up. Should have started with the bend first, but that's okay. Yep, that works, just like that. A little bit of bend in the arm does not bother me whatsoever. So that's good. And now I am going to get the camera shot that I want to do now. I want the fireplace in the shot. because that'll create a really good background sense. So, and that's kind of like the ambience I want to go for. So I do want the fireplace in the shot. Now, you want to try and cover as much real estate, is what I call it, as possible. You don't want a lot of dead space. So what I mean by dead space is whatever's not the focus. So this shot, naturally, the focus is the character, and the focus is this fire right over here, right? So all this area is dead space. All this area around the model, that's dead space. This is not, but this whole outline of like that. So we got a big chunk, almost like half the image is dead space, which is, I mean, not bad in a sense. But let's go ahead and I'm going to create a new camera, and this is going to lock in the camera. So when I go, it's this is an asset that I have. If you create a camera, you can move it, but because of this asset, it automatically locks it, so you don't got to go and lock it yourself. So if I try to move, it won't let me move, and that's the what I want, because I don't want to lose this shot. But if you make your own camera, let's say you don't have this asset, you make your own camera, you just click on here with the new camera, and then all this X, Y, Z, you just come over here and you can lock each and every one of these. But see, that's just time wasted for me, so that's why that asset is like awesome for me. That's why I love that asset. That I forget who made it, but shout out to them. All right, so now we want the character to either be focusing on the camera or the fire, and I think I want to focus on the camera because, well, I just feel like I got a better vibe from it if it's coming from the camera. So I'm just going. I got a script for this, so it look at the camera, and then you can turn the head, and she kind of looks at the camera. Now, granted, I'm not on the actual camera. I need to be on this one because I will be moving the other one. So there we go. Now she's looking at the camera. Now we definitely got to fix that hair because that poofy ass hair is going nutty. So let's go ahead and take this, and we're just going to rotate this down. Now let's go back to our camera shot. Doesn't look too bad, maybe like a little bit more. Even if it clips the character, the angle that we're shooting from, it's not showing it. So that looks good just like that. All right. I think we almost have her set. Let me check this hand over here. And then we can start lighting the scene. Yeah, the hand needs to be fixed. Needs to be twisted a little bit more out and then bent out. So something like this. And then we can just bend the hand a little bit more maybe. Might be able to get away with that without showing too much clipping. Alright, now let's check our lighting. Let's see what we're working with. So I go into iRay and see the damage pretty much because it's going to be all redone more or less anyways. I want it kind of dark besides the light. So this is actually good. I like this. This is actually a lot better than I anticipated. Now, granted, I'm not fond of this light, and I can't select this light for some reason. I don't know if it's connected. It might be flames. Is that it? Hold on. Let me see. So everything is lit by lumen. So all I did was click this, which is the base, and flames. This is definitely the flame, and here's the lumen. So let me go ahead and see if I do this. Oops. Hold on. My bad. There we go. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted. So all I did was took the lumen off of that. I will make my own light. I tend to like using ghost lights, and I tend to like only using ghost lights because it makes my renders go quicker because of soft lighting versus harsh lighting. It doesn't leave specks. So that is just my preference. You can also use spotlights, point lights, and all that, and it works fine for, I see people all the time using those, and they're good renders. This is just my preference. So let's go ahead. I have ghost lights. If you want to create your own ghost light, I actually have a video on that. So this is an asset that I use just because I like the vendor, and I enjoy just being able to search through here rather than loading them in and stuff. It's, again, just a preference. but you can make your own ghost lights, and I got a video on that. Let's see. Now we're going to go ahead and downsize this. So I'm just going to scale it down. Now this ghost light starts out at 1500 wattage. So it's going to be too bright, but we will see how much it's actually... where's my... There it is. Now I'm going to... we'll see how much I need to lower or heighten it. The temperature of this, it is a fire, so... the temperature has to be extremely low. So I'm going to start out with like a 2500, and of course I hit that button again. I need to disable that really badly. So yeah, I'm going to disable my num lock and force myself to use my keys over here. My hotkeys for the streaming and everything, I got to the same one that I used for when I change values. So that definitely needs a change. I got to get started on that one. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look to see how this looks. So 1500 lumen on this fire, and because I lowered the lumens and the surfaces of that thing, this might not come out right. I might have to give it some lumen, but I want it as least as possible. Okay, cool. I won't have to do that. That's awesome. All right, so now we need to downgrade this this wattage. So it starts at 1500, so let's go to 700 and see what that does. All right, so now this is getting more to what I'm looking for. I might actually decrease this temperature a little bit more. I'm thinking, let's try like a 20. Oops, I num lock. There we go. Let's try like a 2100. No, a little bit more. Actually, let's do 2200, and then we'll increase the lumen just a tiny bit. All right, now let's go back to our camera and see what it looks like. That's not too bad. I can live with that. It might need actually even a little bit more lumen. Let's go with like an 825. Yeah, so let's go with like that. That looks good. Now, what we're going to do is go back into texture mode because I'm going to be moving around. We do have a light right here. So what I'm going to do is I already have this spear. So instead of bringing another one in, I'm just going to duplicate it. And we're just going to place it right here where the lamp is. Now what I'm going to do is put it inside it because that's where the light is, and it'll give a better shadow. I am going to change the values of the temperature because a light, well, I mean it is a fire, but because I don't want it to dominate over the fireplace, so I'm going to give it just oh my gosh, I'm going to give it just slightly more on the temperature to make it more of a yellow than a red. And then I am going to take this lumen, the wattage, and I'm going to bring it down to, let's say, like 400, and let's give it a good little look over and see how it looks. You can't really see the light in the other image, so I'm just going to look from far back like this and see if it works for me. Come on. You see how it can be overbearing. Let's see how it looks with this. So you can actually see the light a little bit, and I do not like that at all, so I'm going to bring it down even more. And then I'm also going to up the temperature a little bit more as well to like 3000. No, I'm going to bring it back down. Let's do 2700. Alright, so I'm liking that. So let's go ahead and get out of this camera view. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to duplicate this as well. So edit, duplicate, bam. And this is going to be the same exact as this one right here. So I don't have to do any changes whatsoever to this one. It's not really in the image, but I do want to get as much of what I call natural light as possible. So from spots that would normally have light. So you can kind of see the light over here, so that gives it a good ambience. Now we do have a light right above us as well. So I'm going to do that now. because we do got those candles just like this. And this, the reason why I do it this way is so it makes it more realistic. Because yes, I'm just doing one render, but if I'm making an entire scene, people are going to see this candle holder. People are going to see this image, maybe an image of this light source and stuff. So it makes it look more natural. So that's the whole reason. Now this is round, but what I'm going to do instead is put a square in, because it does cover a lot of real estate. So let's go ahead, let me line this up better. And I will increase the size. Get it around something like that, that'll work. Bring it up a little bit, and what I'm going to do is I'm in the surfaces tab and I'm going to two-sided, so it's going to shoot up and down. It'll start reflecting light. It'll give it a little bit more light source. And we're going to bring this down to, let's say 2700 like the other lights. And then let's see how it looks with 1500. We might have to up it a little bit more. And then from this point, it will be what I call unnatural lighting, where there's no light source, but you're going to add a little bit of light anyways. But I do want to make sure I got this one first. Alright, let's go into our camera shot. This looks good. You can see the glow. Now I need to add some unnatural light. I'm thinking, ooh, I didn't even realize this, but I'm clipping her head a little bit on the shot. I do not like that. I like showing like the whole shot. So what I'm going to do is first I like this shine. The shine is great, so I'm going to keep that. The lumen on it's great. I just need to add some light so her face has less shadow. I need to add a backlight because I don't like the shadow on the back very much. I want a softer look than that. But first I need to fix this. So instead of unlocking everything, what I'm going to do is kind of do a little cheat for me. So I will just make another camera, just how this one will be movable, and then I will delete that one, and then I'll just bring this back a little bit. Actually, I don't even need to go back that much. I can go like this, bring it up a little bit, and now I will create my new light again. And then delete this camera, and now I have the shot that I want. Alright, so now let's go ahead and add some unnatural light. So we're going to have at least 2. So I will put this one in front of her, like so, and then I will put this one behind her. And it's an art. It's all preference. Some people like shadows, and to be fair, point lights and spotlights do create fairly good shadows. Like they're a lot better than ghost lights. Ghost lights are softening them up basically. But because this source light, I don't want it to be too red, because you want the natural lighting to take most of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it roughly around I'm going to start at like 3200, and then the lumen's going to be rather low as well because it's close to the character. So let's start it at like 200, and then I'm going to do the same to this one. I probably should have just duplicated that other one, but whatever, it's okay. Alright, so now let's go and see what we're working with, and then we'll start working on the expression for the model, and then I'll work with the depth of field and what have you. See, now she has a little bit more light on her face, which is great. I do not mind a little shadow. This I don't like. Let's see what we can do about that. And that's why. Alright, so let's go ahead and need to make this smaller too. I probably shouldn't even have used the round one. I should have used a square, but that's okay. Let's see what I can do with this. Bring it closer to the point that I want. And I want to make sure that this light doesn't shine too much on this surface. I don't want it to be sticking out as well. I probably need to move this light source over just a tiny bit more. Alright. That's a little better. It's kind of harsh. You can see it's specking. I don't really like the specking very much. But that's not bad. And I think I will keep this light source exactly where it's at and keep this soft shadow right here because you got this right here. So that's going to be really the main focus. Now, as for this one, I do not like how much it is lighting. So let's go ahead and pop it down. Let's try 125. I don't like that at all. Let me see what I can do. Let's bring the lumen up closer to a yeah. So the lower you go, the redder it gets. I accidentally hit 500 and not 5,000. So that's why the light turned a little red. Now, no, that's just too much. All right, so what I need to do is actually... So what do I have it at? 3,000? I'll do 4,000. If I don't like it, then I'll just... I might have to spend more time on the render to hash out these specs. But let's go ahead and select this model. And I have this really cool thing for the camera. Now... what it does is it focuses on the character, which is great. So then I don't got to sit there and mess with it on my camera end. But you can focus with your camera. I'll show you by selecting the camera what it actually does. All right. Let me go into... I think this will work out good, actually. So what the camera does is, you see how the camera selected and it's going out towards here. Now let's go to camera. I don't have depth of field on yet, so hold on one second. I got to do it from this like that, and all it does is switch this on. But if I switch this on and then I click this, then they get confused. So I have to make sure they stay in unison. So after the depth of field, you can see these two little boxes, right? So that's the focus point. So what this button right here does for me, it automatically focuses on her eyes, right? So I don't got to manually put it there. It's just little time savers, because I do this like hours and hours a day, right? So any way to save just some time, I take it and do it, because over long periods of time, it saves a lot of time. So now let's go ahead and look in iRay again, now that we have the depth of field going. And then we'll see if we need to add some more depth of field or less. So this actually started, this one ain't, this ain't bad at all, actually. It's almost the right amount that I'm looking for. The feet start to get right out of focus. That's okay, because their focus is the face. I don't think I really need to mess with the focus at all. But just for training purposes, I will... there's an f-stop. And this is the main way I use to increase or decrease the blur. So the higher you go, the less depth of field it's going to be. So, and this same option, like that you see right here, is in here. See, the f-stop starts out at 22. It's the same concept. So when I do, it starts at 9 stops, which is 22, which is the default. But let's say I wanted less. Let's go up to 11. and now you will see that there's a lot less blur. And if you wanted more blur, you could always just bring it down. Let's say like down to 7, and you can see there's a ton more blur, and the blur is going all the way up to her hands now. But I like it right at the default, so I'm gonna go with 9. Just like that. Awesome. And I will show the image of the final render because I'm going to render it out for everybody, and I will show it at some point. Probably at the end. I'll have the full image and everything. I'll even take it through like Photoshop and all that stuff to make it look even prettier. Yeah, Photoshop, Lightroom, After Effects. I'll see what I can come up with, and then now I'm just going to give her like some sort of like basic, like maybe, do I have a flirt or something? This is the flirt that I designed myself, so I'm biased, so I'll do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually have her look at the camera again, except take off the head movement, only move the eyes, so that the eyes kind of level back out. I like that better. Awesome. And I think we're almost done. The only thing I'm going to change, and I'm going to save it before I do this because D-Force can destroy stuff so bad and lock up the whole system. So I do not want things to be completely obliterated. The good news is, because of this angle, this thing right here is not going to affect the image. So I won't have to de-force from starting pose. I'll just have it drop because this needs to drop. So let's go ahead and do that. And I already have it saved before I started. I'm just going to go ahead and save it again. And then I'm going to go into de-force. I don't want to do the jacket. Only want to do the dress. And I want to see the simulation. Simulation from memorized pose. No, I do not want the... What this does is the model will go back to the T pose when you first load in a character and then work towards the actual pose and bring the D-force with it. I don't need to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and pray this doesn't break anything. Now you should, hopefully, this is the right one. Dress, it should be that. And this will D-force down to where it hits this item. This might take a few minutes to do as well. Oh, man. You can see it already starting to move down how it should. So that's good. At about 50%, it's pretty much done. Then it just kind of like does its final little calculations. But it's pretty much done, as you can tell now. It's not too much movement. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel because that works for me. Get a close-up. That works. That's awesome. Going to go ahead and save it. And that's it. I think we got our shot. Thank you so much for watching. After I'm done talking or whatever, I'll have like an image, and I'll probably make it a thumbnail as well, and of the full rendered, completely done thing. But I appreciate you guys watching, and like I said, head over to Rumble and give me a follow over there. I really appreciate that. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Take care. Bye bye. What's up, everyone? Sage back, and I thought maybe I could go through the process of what I do to correct and really make a render pop. So I'm going to use Photoshop, I'm going to use After Effects, I'm going to use Lightroom. And so I already corrected this one, unfortunately. I was recording and, well, After Effects bugged out on me, so I had to stop the recording. So take number 2. So I healed up this because the hair cap line was popping through. So I just used a healing brush rather than cloning. And then I fuzzed out this area, and what it does is it's called a blur tool, and you just blur it or whatever, and it makes it takes the noise and makes it into blur. So I did that in this area because there was too much noise, and that was pretty much all I did in After Effects. In Photoshop. So now, because this starts out as a PNG, I'm going to go ahead and take it over into After Effects, which is also PNG format, because you don't want to be switching between the formats too much, because when you do, it degrades the quality of the image. So go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and plop this down in here. Now I'm just going to use some basic little effects, right? Nothing crazy, right? So I'm going to oh, hello. First I need to get my keyboard working. There we go. And now I'm going to, I typed in light, and what it is, it's called light rays. So when you pop that in there, it kind of makes it pop a little bit. As you can tell, it brings a little bit more to it. And I'm actually not even going to mess with it. I'm just going to keep it just like that. So now you can see like a before and after. See, that's what it was, and now that's what it is. Now, I think I might add, kind of wish it was a little bit more red, or I could get like an effect like this. I think that'll work better. See that little effect that it has on it. So it's not blurring this out, but it's also getting those little lines that I like. You can, it just every little bit makes a difference. So I'm gonna I'm gonna put that there. I'm not gonna put one over here. Ain't no sense in me putting one there, because I don't want too much lighting. Now I am gonna experiment and see if I want to add a light sweep or not. So I could rotate this around something like this, a little bit more, so it kind of hits the face, and then add the color. Something like that. And I might not even keep this. I'm just experimenting with it. I don't like the angle because it needs to be something more on the lines of that, but so I'm probably not going to keep this anyways, because I don't want it to cut through there. Wish I could make like a starting point. There probably can. There, that'll work. And now let's go ahead and increase the width a little bit. And then we want smooth. And then the edge intensity, I want 0, because with the edge intensity, when you do like this, you see how this light's right here? I don't like that. It's very tacky to me. So I do that because I don't like that intensity going on. Edge thickness can be 0 as well. And now I want to see like a before and after of this. It's not bad at all, actually. I don't know which I like more, because the shadows really make this pop, but that also gives it a good hit as well. I wonder. Let's take down the intensity. So let's knock this down to, let's say, like 15. See what we can do. See what we can do with that. So I think I'll keep it just like that. Yeah. So now I'm gonna go ahead and render this out, which only takes a quick second. Oop. Control M. Custom. Oh, hold on. I need to check the composition. So composition settings, it's set for 4 seconds. I don't need 4 seconds. I literally just need the one image, so I can just do that. Click OK. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete this again. And now Control M. Custom. Make sure it stays in PNG format. OK. Go ahead and put this in a folder. I'll put in like oh, it's in the wrong area. That's why I can't find it. Alright, cool. And then I'll just put it in, where you at? There it is. Save it, render. Bam, it's done. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this into Lightroom. Plop it over here. Now, what I'm going to do really is I want to mess with the color grading a little bit. So this is kind of like a really light room. So the shadows I want to be like a dark blue. So I'm going to bring it down like this and just tone it down just a tiny bit. And then the midtones are more like of an orange. So I'm just going to, I might not even mess with this very much. Let me see. I think that would be good, but I am gonna tone it down just a tiny little bit. All right, cool. And you can kind of like see the before and after of this, of what I've done with just the color grading. So we'll do that. Now let's go ahead and give it clarity. Clarity really makes the shadows and lines kind of like kind of pop. So let's go ahead and give it like a 20. That's pretty much my go-to. I don't need to add any textures to it. There's no up close imagery of textures, and then pretty much all I do then is hit auto and then change what I don't like. Always the exposure goes back down to 0. Do not like those highlights going at all, so I'm just gonna literally just get rid of highlights. Whites do not need to be going. Shadows, I don't want more, I want less. And then that. So that's the original. That's what I got right now. I am gonna fickle with this a little bit more because I still think it. And that might be why they got the vibrance is up. So let's go ahead. Something on the lines of that. Don't really like to mess with stuff too much, so I just add a few little points here. I could actually add some yellow if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I like it just like that, and that's what it was, and that's what it is now. So now I'm just going to export that. Bam. And that's it. I have done the full corrective measures that I do for every one of my images that I do. So I don't always use After Effects, but I always use Lightroom and I always use Photoshop. But I just wanted to do a little bit of After Effects in this one. So I hope you found that informative, and I'll show you the finishing results here in a second. Bye bye.